We're happy to say that Emily Ratajkowski joins us for her first TV interview to talk about her book. Hello, author.
Hello.
How does that feel to you?
It feels crazy. It's great.
How does that feel?
Yeah.
I thought your book was very interesting. Number one, you said you didn't want a picture of yourself on it. You just wanted the words.
Yeah.
And you wanted the words, my body. This is what I learned in the book. You've been brought close to wealth and power, but not true empowerment. Beauty was a way for you to be special. You still get a kick out of your Instagram followers when they like something. All women are objectified and sexualized to some degree. You just thought you would do it on your terms. So when I read this, Emily, I thought she's very confident, clearly, but you also seem to be conflicted, and it was a complicated process. True for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think my early 20s, I really thought of myself as kind of hustling and working the system and saying, okay, I know what I can get from becoming a model and from, you know, using my body to have fame and success. And I even called it empowerment. I mean, I was in the Blurred Lines video. That was my kind of big breakthrough moment. And I told everyone that that felt like an empowering experience. But I think that as I've gotten older, I've realized it's a little bit more complicated, and I feel a responsibility to tell young girls that and share that with them.
And what have you learned when you say, because you were out there saying, look, and I think people were taken aback by your position at the time. What have you learned that made you change your mind?
Yeah, I think that I would be wrong to say that it's just simply empowering to capitalize on your sexuality and your beauty as a woman. I think that ultimately you're trying to appeal to men, and that's, you know, what that example that we were just talking about, Blurred Lines, kind of shows, and that's why I included it in the book.
So people should read the book, because we're going to just scratch the surface here. It's very detailed, layered, nuanced, and you're clearly very conflicted about it. The New York Times book critic Molly Young got touched on this ambiguity at the center of the book, which is we're in a world where women are exploited, and you've taken your power and now, in their words, exploit yourself. And then the kind of question is that progress?
I don't think that exploiting myself is progress at all. I think that it just offers me some kind of control. Actually, the only time I feel like I've experienced empowerment is through writing this book and through telling my story and through even just making something, creating something. That feels like real power.
But Emily, wouldn't you argue you're not exploiting yourself?
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, I think that I'm using my sexuality. I don't know if somebody can exploit themselves. I think that that's what control means. But I think that definitely I've capitalized on my image and my success.
The point that the book reviewer was making is that you're continuing in this business of making money off of your appearance while at the same time criticizing that whole industry. And so you're in both positions at the same time.
I think it's really important. I think politicians are a perfect example of that. They're criticizing the system, and they're still working within it because you want it to change. And I think that, you know, as somebody who you can Google and look at my Instagram and see all this glamorous kind of really, I think, powerful success, fame, it's really important to give people the full story.
Now, vanity sells in America. We know this. It's part of the American dream for some. What would be your advice to young women out there that look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm pretty. I have a nice body. I can sell this a little bit, but also understanding that there could be a slippery slope.
Yeah, listen, I don't fault young girls, and I would never tell a young girl, I would never shame them about the way that they dress or how they might try to work the system and kind of that's just the reality of the world we live in.
Right.
That being said, I don't want them to just think that's going to be a beautiful pathway with like flowers and, you know, all that kind of.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that, and there's a lot of ways that you can be hurt, especially if you are naive. I was saying to Gayle earlier, I think I was kind of defiant, and I really wanted to believe that, you know, I was the example of a woman empowered, that if this was feminism, that you could use your body to have fame and success. And in some ways, that's totally true. In other ways, you know, there's examples in the book where I didn't feel empowered because it's more complicated than just that.
Yeah, and you talk about your life in high school, things that have happened to you. You talk about modeling assignments, stuff that you wish you had been told in high school. I read your stuff. I said, wish I'd been told that in college, that, hey, dude, I don't owe you anything. But, you know, as you mentioned, you became an overnight, seemingly sensation after the Blurred Lines video. And in the book, we learned that during that time, during that photo shoot, Robin Thicke groped you, and you talk about that. And I think if people focus on that, they're missing the point. But I do want to talk about that for just a second, because you said in that moment, he took everything, because you were having a great time. You admit you were prancing around, you were making goofy faces and really enjoying it. But in that moment, he reduced everybody, you thought, all the women on the set, to what?
Yeah, I mean, I think that set is such a good example of what I'm talking about because it was all women. It was a female director, cinematographer. I felt so comfortable compared to other jobs I was doing at 21. I was having fun.
And it was fun, you said.
Yeah, I was really having fun. And then in that moment, all of a sudden we realized who was in charge because there was no stopping. There was no, if we had stopped the set, there's another prettier girl who would be happy to be in my place. And I think everybody who was working there, even though we felt this connection, it was like, well, Robin Thicke's in charge. Mm-hmm. And, this was not a gotcha moment in any way. I'm not interested in canceling anyone. For me, it was telling the whole truth of the reality of that experience because for so long, everything that I said it was really fun, which, by the way, it was also.
Yes. Yeah. On the flip side, people can say, but she's prancing around, and there's videos where, you are topless, and they go, well, what do you expect? And to that you say...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a shame. I don't think that women, no matter what they're wearing or what they're doing, should be treated that way.
So, Emily, how do we change this system? You mentioned that you work within it, so you have the power to make it better. What does better look like?
I mean, I think it's a cultural shift. There's obviously ways that we can protect models, but it's a really complicated industry because it's just about using women's bodies to sell products. So ultimately, it's always going to be a level of objectifying. I think, though, having respect for these young women, offering them as much control as we can possibly give them, that's huge. But I think just in general, I'm interested in talking about women in general, not just the industry, and how we treat young girls, how we teach them in all kinds of subtle ways that they kind of are obligated to be really sweet, never let what they need and protect themselves be known.
We should say, I want to make it clear, Robin Thicke has not responded to the comments that you've made about what happened on the set. But I want to wrap it up with my favorite line of the book was how you ended it, talking about the birth of your son, who you said came out of your body.
Yeah.
Once again, my body. So you're a mother now to a son.
Yeah.
What will you teach him? He's 6 months, 8 months old?
8 months today.
Oh,
it's his
wow.
birthday today.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you. Got to blow out a candle for him.
Now you have an opportunity to teach him.
Yeah, listen, I think women and men can benefit from understanding these power dynamics, understanding the ways that I think that, sometimes men feel intimidated. They feel like they have something they have to prove. There's a lot of things that are really hard for men, too. I think toxic masculinity is bad for everyone. And I really want to take that pressure off him and also make him aware of the way that he can hurt women in certain situations.
Yeah. Well, now you're in a position to teach him.
It's really a terrific book. It's insight into a world that most people struggle to imagine, and you've done it really well. It's going to be read for a long time.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Emily Ratajkowski. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
People gone from, how do you say her name, to, what is that, Jay, to Emily Ratajkowski. Yeah. Her book is called My Body. It goes on sale tomorrow, wherever you like to buy your books. You've got lots of options. If you or someone you know is seeking sexual assault counseling or resources, you can call the national hotline. The phone number is 1-800-656-4673. Again, that number is 1-800-656-4673.